What if I told you that today was the latest time you should wait to get literate about your finances? What if I told you that not being literate about your finances is costing you money, time, and opportunities? Well, I'm glad you asked. Today, we're going to tune in and you're going to find out what is really costing you not to know what to do with your finances and not understanding where you can go. So, today we are going to dig deep into the reasons you should understand why financial literacy is important to you as a woman in these times. So, here's the thing. There's 3 to 4 reasons why you should know that being financially literate is the key to your success. One, the number one reason is that having financial literacy and knowing what to do with your finances allows you to be able to seize additional wealth building opportunities in times of change. And wouldn't you say that things are changing right now? Now, because you don't understand or may not understand your finances, you might not know an opportunity when you see it. When the interest rates rise, do you know if there's an opportunity for you? When inflation changes, do you know if that's an opportunity? A shift in the housing market, can you tell when it's time to seize an opportunity? But when you know how to understand your finances and the financial landscape that is around you, that will allow you to be able to take advantage of new opportunities because you'll understand when it's the right time to buy property, invest in stocks, or even start a business. You'll understand how to read the signs in the buyer's market. You'll understand what capital gains opportunities may be there. Or you really understand whether something is a favorable lending term. And you can just avoid being sidelined or misinformed, or as they like to do with women, just give us some answer and hope that we accept it. And that creates a challenge, right? So, because financially literate women are able to recognize these things and take advantage and negotiate differently. That's one of the number one reasons we want to be financially literate. So, before I go into the rest, I want to make sure that we are all in the room. As you know, I like to share a affirmation with you whenever I am with you or we are live here on the Unblocking Your Path to Wealth podcast where we dig into the spiritual, physical, and financial of what is impacting your finances. So, this week's money manifestation is money flows to me effortlessly, consistently, and in abundance. Money flows to me effortlessly, consistently, and in abundance. So I'm so excited to share some of these financial literacy tips with you this week because it's really important for us to take advantage of that. And a little later, I have a special guest who's going to join us, and she's going to talk to us about the spiritual and the mental ways that we can take control of our finances. And she has a special opportunity for you. So I'm excited about that. So the number 2 reason you should know about your financial literacy or know where you are in your finances is that turning economic disruptions into strategic advantage. What is an economic disruption? What if you get laid off? Can you turn that into a strategic advantage? What if your job changes and changes its structure and it moves and you decide to move with it? But can you turn that into a strategic advantage? What about all the automation that's coming through AI? What strategic advantage can you create for yourself with this disruption in so many industries right now with AI? Understanding your finances can help you be able to turn those things into assets for you from now and in the future. Now, the other thing is to really think about, when you're looking at these disruptions, can you assess your financial cushion and be able to take calculated risks? Can you really tap into some of those emerging fields? We talked about AI, but what about green energy? What about digital assets? What about even going into entrepreneurship? We talked earlier about, do you know if this is the right time to go into entrepreneurship, right? Can you position yourself as a key employee for an employer if you decide to stay working for a W-2 employer? But can you put yourself in a place to be a part of the disruption and not get left behind? but understanding your finances will allow you to do that. Do you know the number 3 thing is, do you know how to access capital and leverage it? We talk about leveraging capital here a lot, but do you know how to access it and leverage it? And what do I mean by leveraging it? Taking debt and using it as a tool and not just letting it trap you into paying high interest, right? Allowing you to leverage business loans to do business things, to acquire assets, to move in the direction that you want to go in. Do you know how to use that leverage to renegotiate some terms, to create business funding opportunities, to use life insurance policy with cash value to create leverage, to create partnerships, right? One of the big example is knowing how you can qualify for a line of credit for a 10K deal, right? That can make you 100K. How do you lose if you take out a 10K loan and you make 100K? You've paid the loan and you paid yourself 9 times over, right? Because you have to have a clear financial literacy plan or financial IQ so that you can move forward and understand how to use these tools to your advantage, right? The other thing, the fourth thing we're not really talking about is that, are you able to claim ownership in the wealth transfer and policy shifts that are coming? There's over $70 trillion expected to transfer and generationally in the United States through people retiring, family members unfortunately transitioning, as the boomers come out of the market. But we're expected to control that money and have a significant portion of it. And that is where our financial literacy is really going to be needed. You don't want to wait till you have large sums of money to learn about how to have large sums of money, right? You want to be someone who inherits wisely and don't become wasteful with it. You don't want to be manipulated or misled by others, advisors, banks, and even family when you have large sums of money. So it's important to already kind of understand how that works. Do you know how to use trust, insurance, and investments to extend your legacy? That's a part of financial literacy. So the big thing, number 4, is you gotta be able to own the wealth transfer policy. Claim your ownership in the wealth transfer and policy shifts that are coming. And the last thing is really recognize when more money isn't just the goal, control is. Because you can have more money, but if you don't have control over the money, do you really have money? More money? Because many women like myself, you're a high income, but you still live check to check. Many of you have heard my story before. I was making over $200,000 a year, and when I got laid off, I didn't have any money. I was still living check to check, making double 6 figures. Because at the time I did not have financial literacy. But you have a chance now to recognize your lifestyle and deal with any lifestyle inflation where you're spending more to live. Work on your toxic expense. Understand your net worth and your cash flow. And learn to build systems to help your money flow to you, not just through you. I'm going to say it again. Build systems to help your money flow to you, not just through you. It's a huge mindset shift. So, again, the top 5 things you really want to know in your financial literacy journey is, how do you seize wealth building opportunities in times of change? How do you turn economic disruptions into strategic advantage? Learning to unlock access to capital and leverage. Claiming your ownership in the upcoming $70 trillion wealth transfer and policy shifts. And 5, recognizing how more money isn't necessarily the goal, but knowing how to control your money is the goal. So those are the top 5 reasons we really want to be literate with our finances. These are the things that will help us. And so I wanted to make sure that we talked about that as I just came back from doing my 3-day Get Out of Debt boot camp. And we had over 50 women in the room learning how to get out of debt. getting their debt roadmaps together and taking charge of their finances because they want to be able to do those 5 things that we talked about that financially literate women are able to do when they have money. So I'm excited that many of you have tuned in for that. And I hope that you'll be tuning in for my next boot camp, which will be coming out soon in the next 2 to 3 days. And that is going to be the Retire Rich boot camp, ladies. And you're going to be able to go to joinsaran.com, retire rich in the next 3 days, and be able to register and be a part of the Retire Rich boot camp. And that's so important for us to do. But without further ado, I have an amazing guest. She's an amazing speaker. She's an accomplished medical professional. She's not just any type of doctor, she's a medical doctor, right? And as you know, I often have a lot of special guests and especially women to talk about mindset shift and how taking care of yourself is the best thing that you can do. And Dr. Upong and I met about a year ago, and we have some shared spaces that we're in. And she is an amazing woman who really focuses on helping women to tap into their radiance and who they really are. And so it made sense to me when she reached out and said, "Hey, Saran, let's do something together." I wanted to bring her on live because she just so happens to be having a master class where she's helping busy women do just that. And who's less busy than a medical doctor, right? Nobody's more busy than a medical doctor, at least in my opinion, right? And so I wanted her to come and talk about the Radiant Reclaim Masterclass and offer you the opportunity, you, the audience, the opportunity to join her for her masterclass. So, Dr. Pong, bring your voice into the room any way you feel comfortable. You can tell us a short story about yourself or whatever it is you like to do.
Thank you so much, Saran, for having me in your space. Thank you, powerhouse woman that you are, and what you're doing in, the finance space. And yes, I really appreciate this opportunity to talk to your audience about the Radiant Reclaim Masterclass. And what really inspired me was my personal life, which I will go into more elaboration tomorrow, which is a masterclass at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. But it all started with, as a child, the voices that I was hearing, one voice that I was hearing was like, "You don't dress well." And that voice kept ringing in my head. And that voice was the voice of my mom. And so I always felt unsure of myself. Am I good enough? Am I dressed well enough? And where the whole thing really came apart was when I got diagnosed with breast cancer. And yeah, a physician like me. So, and then, going through treatment, feeling sick, I really desperately wanted to feel well and look well. And that's when one day I said to myself, I don't want to look like the men. Thank God I'm a woman. Because the men will come in with the treatment, they've lost their hair, they have black spots on their faces. And I was like, I don't want anyone to necessarily feel sorry for me. So I went to learn how to do a little makeup to conceal the dark spots, draw eyebrows that wouldn't wash away because I would draw an eyebrow and I would go later look in the mirror, it's rubbed off. I was like, no, this one.
Been
And
there,
it was
done that.
so that's when I went to Mac and I paid someone teach me how to do basic makeup, and they did. And because no one is interested that you're sick. You have to show up like you're well, and nobody's interested that you're sick and you're looking scruffy. So that's where all this stem from. So as women, high professionals, we are all doing well. Sometimes we get dismissed by our practitioners because we are not showing up powerfully like our credentials show. And your star might no longer serve you anymore at the authority you have. So we have to up level. And then there's the disconnection some women experience between their personal health, how they look, how they feel, to the success they've attained in the workplace. So I really want to help women reclaim that radiance so that you don't leave money on the table because your presence doesn't match what you really carry. So you carry a lot of good stuff, and so your presence has to match that. So that's what all this is about.
I love that. We carry a lot of good stuff, and our presence has to match that radiance. I think
Mhm.
that that is a big deal because sometimes we don't realize that what we're going through may be draining the radiance that we still have inside,
Hmm.
right? And even when we're going through something, there's still a gift that we were born with to deliver while we're here,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So I love that, and I'm really excited. And I've shared the link to register for the masterclass in the chat, and so I really just I know that that it's important for us to really have that power in who we are because that
Mhm.
gives us the godfidence, not just confidence, the godfidence to go and be
Hmm.
who we were meant to be when we came here and to live it out fully. So
Hmm.
and I appreciate I thank you for sharing your story of your cancer diagnosis because when you're going through that we're not always thinking about helping others, right?
Hmm.
But you're able to bring that gift to say, hey, I'm still here. I went through it, made it through. I even learned how to draw eyebrows on without taking them off with some. You got to have humor, right? In the things
Yes.
you're doing because it keeps us healthy. And
Hmm.
but the radiance is so important because we lose our radiance when we forget who we are.
Hmm.
So I'm really excited about your masterclass. I'm excited to that you invited me also to be a guest speaker. So I'll be there as well for a short period. But I just wanted to make sure that people knew that this amazing opportunity is available to them. I'm gonna continue to post it, and I'm gonna make sure that people are able to register when they see you because when they see it because at the end of the day you cannot get enough information about being a better you.
Hmm. Wow.
We just can't. I mean, we always need information on how to be a better us. I know I
Mhm.
do. So, is there one big thing that your hope is that women will walk away with from the event?
Yes, I really want them to reclaim their voice, align their image, and start developing strategies that will help them bridge that gap between that professional success and their personal well-being. Like you said, sometimes when we are passing through some difficulties, the battery of our radiance gets drained. So we want to fill it up so that we can, be fully present and do our God given purpose. Because when you are vibrant, radiant, you feel good, you can do more, you can do better.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I
then,
love that.
yeah, yeah.
So, the radiance is something that is not just the thing that you get by being out in the sun, but the radiance is really healing from the inside out.
Oh, yes, from the
Um,
inside out. Yes, it starts with your mind, how you think, how you eat, how you take care of your body, which is a temple of the living God. So that all fits into bringing up the radiance that is in you, and that radiance has to shine. That radiance has to, it will open doors for you. Two people coming for an interview, who would you pick? Someone who's radiant or someone who looks all drained? You definitely go for the person who looks lively, radiant.
yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. So, yeah, I'm really excited. So, I was sharing it on a couple of different platforms while we were talking. So, sometimes I'm a bad host and I try to get things done right away. But I love that. And the big thing too is, what you're talking about ties to the financial literacy that we talked about, right? Because a lot
Yes.
of times what we don't always know is that our mental health impacts our finances.
Hmm.
Because when we have financial challenges or when we have um, stressful situations, sometimes it turns into a financial problem too. That's
Hmm.
when you get a lot of shopping or shopaholicism or overspending, or we're
Hmm.
overeating because we're spending more money on more food that we know we don't need, but we're spending it because it's a coping mechanism, right?
Hmm.
Or we're online shopping, we're clicking to buy. I mean, that's the whole psychology behind it. And the marketers
Hmm.
know they created an easy way for us to click to buy on purpose. Because they
Wow.
know a lot of times we may be clicking to buy out of financial distress.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so understanding those triggers, I force myself not to click to buy. I'll click to cart and give myself a chance to think about it. And then when I go back, I'm like, why did I even put this in the cart? I don't need
Hmm.
it. And then I delete it,
Hmm.
right? But it's one of those things where if we don't put self-control limits on ourselves or around it, the idea, and this actually ties back to the Retire Rich boot camp that I'm going to do, is the psychology is get it now, right? You
Hmm.
deserve it now. But then
Wow.
none of them are telling us that if you spend all your money now, that when you go to retire, that you will be standing in somebody's food line later
Wow.
when you're unable to work. Or
Hmm.
as I shared with my Get Out of Debt boot camp, there were a lot of high level women and people who do a lot of community service. And I asked them this one question. You do community service now in the community where you provide food, you provide meals, you provide anything under the sun, shoes, clothes. We do everything through our community service, through our churches and our organizations, right? And I asked this question, and this is not intended to shame those who receive it now. But I asked those women who are now in high power positions, do you want to become the recipient of the service that you give because of your
Hmm.
poor financial planning? Not because you can't take care of yourself, but do you want to become the recipient of the services or the community services that you now give freely out of your heart and out of the abundance of love that you have? But do you want to become the recipient? And that's not shame to those who need it, because they are there through no fault of their own. But we are different because we have the education and access to the information to make a decision. Now, are we going to make a decision to be poor, or are we going to make a decision to be rich?
Hmm.
And so that goes to our mental health, our spiritual health, our financial health, and our physical health. Are we going to
Hmm.
choose to be poor in those areas, or are we going to choose to be rich? And so
Hmm.
it's about taking action. So I implore you to go to the Reclaiming Your Radiance. I said it wrong. I said it wrong. The Radiant Reclamation Masterclass
Masterclass. Yes.
I put in the chat, and sign up and get in the room. She has another powerhouse guest speaker. She will be there. And did I tell you, she's not just a doctor, she's like the lead doctor of internal medicine in the state of Tennessee. Okay. So
Thank
medical
you.
expertise in the room. And you're gonna leave full, you're gonna leave radiant, and you're gonna feel empowered. So be sure to register. And I'm gonna see you tomorrow, Dr. Upong, but I'm gonna close out real quick. So hang in backstage for me. So that has been another powerful episode of Unblocking Your Path to Wealth. Today we talked about financial literacy and why it's important for you to be financially literate, not later, but right now. And the number one reason to be financial literate right now is because your literal financial future is on the line. Get in the comments, take advantage of the link for the Radiant Reclamation Masterclass. I'm going to be dropping the link for the Retire Rich Boot Camp that's coming up at the end of the month. If you did not get a chance to attend the Get Out of Debt Boot Camp in the next week or so, I will be making the replays available for a nominal price so that you can get in the room and you can understand what it means to get out of debt, and you can take advantage of all the resources in the folder that was shared with the people who were able to come live to the boot camp. So it's your girl Saran. Peace, love, and light. Let's get your money right. Bye.